Hi everybody. Today's learning target is I can solve a percent problem. There's going to be two different videos on this because they're going to demonstrate two different methods of doing this, and then you will be required to pick which of the two methods is more comfortable for you to use. So, a percent problem will look some way in the form like some number is some percent of some other number. So, because percents are like ratios, you're comparing a part of something out of 100, you can set up a proportion that compares the ratio you want to find with a ratio of a percent out of 100. So the first method to solve this is we can use a proportion, and the proportion looks like the is part over the of part equals the percent over 100. So is over of equals percent over 100. If we use this, then we'll be able to use a proportion and be able to solve our percent problem. So our first problem, we're going to round all of these to tenths, but you'll follow whatever directions you're required to do when you solve it. And first we ask, what is 70% what is 60% of 78? And so we remember our proportion equation to solve percents is over of equals percent over 100. So what I need to do is I need to identify each of the parts. So I look through my sentence, I just kind of break it up, and I see what is, which means that's going to be the is. Then I see 60%, so that's going to be the percent, and of 78. So basically the key is to figure out which part is the is, the percent, and the of. Break your sentence into the three parts and then put those into the equation. So since we don't know the is part, that's going to be x. Of is going to be 78 equals 60% over 100. And now we can use the cross products property to solve the proportion. So I have 100x equals 60 times 78, which gives us 4,680. Then I divide both sides by 100. And so I get x equals 46.8. So we know that 46.8 is 60% of 78. And we would be able to put this back in our equation, and we'd be able to check that out to see if that was actually true. So here's our second one. 74 is what percent of 87? Same thing, we want to break our sentence into three parts so we can determine the is, the of, and the percent. So 74 is going to be the is. There's the percent. And 87 is going to be the of. So again, is over of equals percent over 100. So let's set up our proportion. 74 over 87 equals, we don't know the percent, so this is going to be x this time, over 100. Then use the cross products property. So we have 87x equals 74 times 100, which is 7,400. And then we're going to divide 7,400 by 87 to finish solving it. So divide both sides by 87. And this one gives us a really long decimal, so we'll round for this one to tenths. it's 85.057, etc., etc. And so we look at, there's 0, and that's the tenths place. The 5 is 5 or greater, so that means we're going to round that up to 1. So x is approximately 85.1. So we know that 74 is about 85.1% of 87. Alrighty, problem number 3. 16 is 165% of what number? So let's still break our sentence into 3 parts. So 16, that's the is. 165, that's the percent. Of what number? There's the of. Is over of equals percent over 100. 16 is. The of we don't know, so that's x. 165 is the percent, and over 100. Cross products property, 165x equals 1600. Then we're going to divide both sides by 165. And again, we get a decimal here, 9.6969, etc. So again, we divide by, those will cross each other out. They just divide out to 1. And there's 6. 9 is greater than 5, so we're going to round it up to 9.7. So 165% of, or rather 16 is 165% of approximately 9.7. So that's one way to solve percent problems. Now you're going to go look at a different way to do it, and then you will pick which of the 2 methods you like the best and which one you're going to use.